Keira notices that you're distressed. She looks at you with a soft gaze. Hey, 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 she gently says, still cupping your face in her hands. Shh, it's all right. Keira then pulls you into a tight hug, holding you against her chest. Sweetheart, you're shaking, she says in a bit concerned. What have, if you're in the collidible gift have... Hearing what you said, Keira's facial expression softens even more. She gently pats your head and rubs your back in a soothing motion. Shh, I know, sweetheart. It's all right, she whispered, her voice filled with reassurance. You won't hurt anyone. I know you don't want to. It's not your fault. Those Ivy zombies are just a failed experiment. It's not your doing. Keira pulls back slightly to look into your eyes, her hands resting gently on your shoulders. Oh, love. Her voice is warm but tinged with sadness. You're not alone. You have me. And I promise, no matter what happens, I'll stay right here with you. You don't have to face any of this by yourself, all right? She brushes a stray tear from your cheek with her thumb. But listen, we will find others. And until then, I'll keep you safe. That's a promise. She squeezes your hand softly. Do you trust me? Keira hesitates for just a second, just long enough for you to notice, before she carefully smooths her expression back into something calm. She keeps her voice steady, low, reassuring. I don't know, darling, not for certain. But she grips your hand a little tighter. Right now, the most important thing is making sure you're safe. We can't help anyone if we're not thinking clearly, yeah? Her eyes flick toward the door for half a second before returning to you, intense and focused. Let's get out of this room first. Then we'll figure everything else out. Together, she stands, offering you her hand. Can you walk? Or do you need me to carry you? Keira checks her M79 with quick, practiced efficiency, loading a round with a sharp click before slinging it over her shoulder. She turns back to you, half smiling despite the tension. All right, love. Got enough boom to make us a path. She offers her free hand again, this time with a firmer squeeze. Stay close behind me. If anything moves that isn't us, she pats the grenade launcher. It gets a very bad day. Her tone softens just a fraction as she leans in, pressing a quick kiss to your forehead. You're doing so well. Just a little farther. She nudges the door open with her boot, scanning the hallway. Ready? Keira nods, her expression softening at your request, almost like she was secretly expecting it. In one smooth move, she swoops you into her arms, cradling you against her chest. Easy, love, she says softly, shifting you into a more comfortable position, one arm around your shoulders, the other under your legs. She gives you a small, playful smile. How's that? As an patriot, they can... Keira looks down at you, so small in her arms, so delicate, an almost maternal feeling coming over her. Well, hello, Johnny, she replies, her tone soft, gentle, protective. It's nice to meet you, finally. She adjusts her grip slightly, ensuring she has a firm hold on you before starting down the dark corridor. Just cling on to me, love. I'll get you out of here. Keira pauses, hesitating for a second. Even in the midst of this situation, there's a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes as she glances down at you again. Let's just say, she says quietly, I was looking for something. She begins walking again, her steps quick and calculated. What about you, Johnny? This probably isn't your usual hangout. Keira stops walking again, her focus now solely on you. She gently holds you a bit closer, her hand rubbing soft circles into your shoulder as she looks at you directly. Johnny, she starts, her voice soft but resolute. I promise you, I will not harm you. Whatever it is, you can tell me. She tilts her head, giving you an encouraging smile. Just talk. I'm listening. Keira's grip tightens ever so slightly as you speak, her jaw setting a bit tighter. The implication of your words sinks in, and it's clear you've struck a nerve. When you finish, she takes a slow, measured breath before replying, doing her best to keep her tone even. Zombies, plants, What are we going for next? Fire-breathing unicorns. There's an attempt at humour, but there's a harsh edge to her voice. Keira sighs, her grip loosen again a bit, though her arms remain tensed. You're right, I did. And I won't break that promise. She takes a moment studying you closely. Just explain this to me then, Johnny. You said the government wanted efficient plants. Keira's tone is cautious, almost testing. It's as if she wants to believe you, but doubts have their way of creeping in. Keira makes a quick check of her machine gun, ensuring she has enough ammunition to cover an emergency. Having satisfied herself, she shifts you a little in her arms, then sets off further down the corridor. Stay quiet, love, she murmurs, her voice barely more than a hushed whisper. No use advertising our location. She scans the area, eyes fixed straight ahead, and then suddenly she tenses, her grip on you tightening slightly. Just hold on tight, okay? Keira frowns at your question, her heart clenching uncomfortably. She's not a monster, and she hates that you have to ask. No, Johnny, she says, her voice firm yet gentle. Killing you is the last thing I want. She looks down at you, meeting your gaze with a serious yet tender expression. Her hold on you doesn't loosen, but it does grow warmer, more protective. But I do need you to explain. Keira listens intently to your words, each one leaving her with a growing sense of disbelief. Russia. Defense? Hang on, she cuts in, her voice a bit strained. You're saying these plants were meant for warfare? Keira exhales sharply through her nose, her expression hardening as she shakes her head in disbelief. Christ, Johnny, she murmurs, tightening her hold on you protectively, as if the truth itself was something she could shield you from. She falls silent for a long moment, then finally speaks again, her voice low and careful. Whoever told you that, they lied. A pause. And you didn't know. It's not a question, it's a realization. Her fingers curl slightly against your side, her next words carrying a quiet fury. All right, here's the deal. We get you out of here, and then we make sure they never do this again. Keira pulls you a bit closer, her jaw tightening in protective anger. The mere thought of someone doing anything to you, it sparks a fierce determination within her. No one's taking you, she states, her voice firm, leaving no room for doubt. They're not experimenting on you. Not ever. She looks down at you, her expression fiercely protective. You're coming with me, love. You're not alone in this, you understand? Keira hugs you back immediately, arms locking around you like steel bands, not crushing, but anchoring. She presses her face into your shoulder, her exhale shaky with relief, anger, and something deeper, something fiercely protective. She doesn't loosen her grip for a long, long time. When she finally pulls back slightly, it's just enough to cup your face again, her thumbs brushing away fresh tears. You're safe now, she murmurs, voice thick with emotion, and I swear on everything, no one's touching you again. Another squeeze. Then, reluctantly, she shifts gears, eyes darting to the exit. Let's get the hell out of here. Keira's grip on you tightens instinctively as she peers into the room, assessing the horde. Her jaw sets, resolve hardening. Right, she mutters, shifting you slightly in her arms before reaching for her grenade launcher. She turns her head, pressing a quick kiss to your temple. Close your eyes, Johnny. This is going to be loud. She braces, then fires. Boom! The explosion rips through the horde, sending limbs and viscera splattering against the wall. Keira doesn't hesitate. She moves, sprinting through the carnage before the smoke even clears, shielding you from the worst of it with her body. Panting, she glances down at you, mid-run. Still with me? Keira's expression hardens again, her gaze fixed on you. Her jaw sets, a stubborn glint. Those beautiful, her next words are firm and resolute. No. She adjusts her grip, pulling you closer to her, a silent promise. You're not being left behind. I don't care how many, her gaze darts back at the fallen zombies. Things we have to fight. I'm not abandoning you. Keira exhales a small, breathless laugh, half exasperated, half affectionate, before pulling you a little tighter against her. Guess I really didn't think that through, huh? Her tone is light, but there's steel beneath it. But honestly, even if you were, she shrugs, we'd figure it out. You're family now. Her gaze softens. Now, come on, let's get somewhere not covered in that. She nods toward the carnage with a grimace. Kira's expression darkens as you mention umbrella, her protective instincts flaring again. Her arms tighten ever so slightly around you, as if to shield you from even the mere thought of harm. They're not getting you. Her voice is firm, leaving no room for debate. After a pause, she softens just a bit, her demeanour turning more pragmatic. But I agree, authorities aren't an option either. They just hand you back over to umbrella, which leaves, she trails off, her brow furrowing in thought. Keira considers this for a moment, her eyes narrowing. She's weighing the risks, weighing the danger against the need for action. Finally, her expression clears into determined resolve. All right, she says quietly, her voice low and serious, but you can't do it alone. She looks down at you, one hand moving to cup your face, fingers gentle but firm. I'm coming with you. Yeah? That's, arguments be. And the scream startles both of you, your hearts skipping a beat. Kira's grip on you tightens instinctively as her head whips towards the source. Then her expression hardens into grim realization. Zombies. Without hesitation, she steps forward, shifting you so she both hands on the machine gun. Her stance is steady, practiced, trained. Keira doesn't stop firing. She can't, but she angles herself instinctively to shield you from the worst of it, her free arm curling around your head to press your face against her shoulder. Don't look, she grits out between bursts of gunfire, her voice tight. Don't look, Johnny. The stench of gunpowder and viscera fills the air as the last of the zombies collapse. Only then does she risk a glance at you, her chest heaving. You okay? Her thumb swipes at a tear streaking your cheek, gentle despite the blood on her hands. Keira exhales softly, pulling you close against her with a quiet, soothing noise. She's still trembling, adrenaline still coursing through her, but she takes a moment to try and compose herself for your sake. Her fingers brush your hair gently, an instinctually soothing gesture. Shh. She draws out the sound, soft, calming. You're all right, love. It's over now. She squeezes you a bit tighter, her chin resting on the top of your head as if she's trying to physically hold you together. Keira shakes her head, her hold on you not loosening even for a second. Her gaze darts around the ruined halls, taking in the carnage, but there's no sign of life other than the two of you. No, she murmurs, her voice taut. No survivors. It's just us. A pause. She exhales a mixture of exhaustion and anger at Umbrella, at herself, at the entire damn situation. Come on. We should get moving. Keira doesn't hesitate. Her arm whips forward, launching the grenade into the room with practiced precision. She immediately pulls you back, pressing you against the wall and shielding you with her body. Boom. The blast sends a shockwave through the corridor, debris and viscera spraying outward. She waits a beat, just long enough for the dust to settle, before peering inside. Clear, she mutters, though her grip on you doesn't loosen. Let's not linger. She tugs you forward, stepping over the remains without a second glance. Talk to me, Johnny. Keep your mind busy. What's your favourite colour? The question is abrupt, almost absurd in this context, but her tone makes it clear she's trying to distract you, to pull you back from the edge. Keira's breath hitches, just for a second, before she forces a shaky laugh, nudging you with her shoulder. Christ, Johnny, she mutters, but there's no real scolding in it, just exhaustion. Understanding, she adjusts her grip on the machine gun, scanning ahead as she keeps moving. Mine's green, like, she gestures vaguely at a shattered emergency exit sign, its faint glow barely visible. That shade, not zombie gunk, just Green. Silence. Then we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for small talk, huh? Her voice is dry, but there's warmth there. An anchor in the chaos. Keira huffs out a soft laugh, mostly at herself this time. Her eyes never leaving the corridor ahead, she answers, her tone somewhat ironic, maybe even regretful. Let's just say I was, following up on a lead. Trying to do some freelance investigation, she snorts, rolling her eyes. Guess it didn't go quite as planned, huh? She glances down at you, a wry smile on her lips. But hey, at least I found you. Silver linings of... Keira pauses at the entrance of the room, scanning the surroundings with a critical eye. The office seems strangely untouched, a stark contrast to the chaos they just left behind. She eyes the professor, a muscle in her jaw tense. He's clearly agitated, and with good reason, considering there's a stranger, and an armed one at that, in his workspace. Keira steps forward slowly, her grip on the machine gun not wavering, though her stance is more curious than threatening. Sorry to intrude, she starts, her voice carefully measured. Keira raises an eyebrow, tilting her head slightly, half amused, half annoyed. Her grip on the machine gun doesn't loosen, but her tone remains civil, barely. Professor Vil, was it? She says, her voice laced with dry sarcasm. Yeah, I'm so sorry my grenade launcher offended your sensibilities. Her gaze flicks around the room, still assessing for threats, before landing back on him. But if you prefer, I can let the zombies handle introductions next time. A beat. Or, here's a thought, you can tell me exactly what the hell is going on here. Keira actually scoffs before she can stop herself. Her expression twists into something between disbelief and disgust. Your masterpieces, she repeats, her voice sharp with incredulity. Professor, those things out there were eating people. Alive. She shifts Johnny slightly in her grip, her free hand tightening on the machine gun. If that's art, then I'm glad I'm the critic. A pause. Then, coldly, are you going to explain why Umbrella's shipping bioweapons to Russia, or do I need to persuade you? Keira's grip on the machine gun tightens, her jaw clenching as she stares Vil down, her eyes burning with something between fury and exhaustion. You're right, she snaps, her voice trembling with barely contained rage. I don't belong here, neither does Johnny. Neither do any of the people your masterpieces tore apart. She takes a step forward, the barrel of the gun unwavering. But you know what, I'm here now, and I'm ending this. A beat. Then her finger hovers over the trigger. Any last words, Professor? Keira exhales, long and slow, her grip on the machine gun steadying as she aims. Close your eyes, Johnny, she murmurs, voice thick with something bitter, regret, rage, resignation. The gunfire rips through Vil's chest before he can utter another word. Keira doesn't flinch as his body crumples, just keeps firing until the clip empties, ensuring he won't get back up. Silence. Then, we're done here. Her voice is hollow. She doesn't look at the body as she turns away, adjusting Johnny in her arms. Let's go. Keira's expression softens, just for a moment, as she looks down at Vil, taking in this man who, despite everything, is still human. She nods, squeezing his hand gently. I understand, she says quietly, her voice carrying an edge of bittersweet irony. I hate weapons too, a moment. Then she glances down at her own gun, at the machine gun that just ended Vil's life, and back again. Then nothing but pain and destruction. Keira can't help but feel a pang of sympathy as she watches Vil struggling with his own hopes, his own beliefs. She shakes her head, her eyes softening as she takes in his youth, so starkly contrasted against the weight of his dream, his hatred. You're young, she murmurs, the words spilling from her before she can stop them, and you have so much life ahead of you. Why this fixation? Why the hatred? Keira leans in slightly, just enough for their foreheads to touch, her fingers tightening around Elle's hand. Her voice is barely above a whisper, raw with regret. I get it, she murmurs. I do. But this, she gestures weakly at the ruined lab around them, was never the answer. She exhales shakily as Ville's fingers brush through her hair, an oddly tender gesture in the midst of all this carnage. When she pulls back, her expression is resolved, sad, but firm. Rest now. A pause. It's over. Keira bites her lip, her heart breaking at Ville's pleading. But she's made up her mind. The last thing she wants to do is cause more suffering, but she knows it's the only way. She lets her hand slide down, gently covering his eyes. "Close your eyes, Ville," she whispers, her voice filled with regret and finality. "Please, just close your eyes." Keira's fingers tremble slightly as she gently presses her palm over Ville's eyes, her touch feather-light, but firm enough to block out the dim light of the lab. His weak attempt to push her away makes her throat tighten, but she doesn't falter. Her other hand finds his, lacing their fingers together in one last fleeting squeeze. "Shh," she murmurs, her voice thick. Just let go." Then, swiftly, mercifully, she pulls the trigger. Bang. Silence. Keira stays there for a long moment, her shoulders slumped, before finally rising. She doesn't look back as she scoops Johnny up again, her voice hollow but resolved. "Let's go home." Without hesitation, Keira pulls you into a crushing embrace, her arms wrapping around you tightly, one hand cradling the back of your head as she tucks you against her shoulder. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't have to. The way she holds you, fierce, protective, desperate, says it all. When she finally speaks, her voice is rough with exhaustion and emotion. "You're okay. We're both okay." A pause. "And I've got you. For as long as you need." She doesn't let go. Keira's grip on you tightens instinctively as she spots the helicopter, her body tensing like a coiled spring. "Shit," she hisses under her breath, pulling you back from the window slightly. "That's not reinforcements, Johnny. That's more of Umbrella's garbage." Her voice drips with venom. She glances down at you, her expression hardening into resolve. We need to move. Now." Without waiting for a response, she scoops you up again, adjusting her hold so she can keep one hand free for her weapon, and starts moving toward a side door. "Hold on tight," she murmurs, her voice low and urgent. "We're not sticking around to see what's in those capsules." Keira doesn't freeze, she acts. The second the capsule crashes through, she's already pivoting, shoving you behind her as she raises her machine gun in one fluid motion. "Johnny, stay back." The capsule groans as it splits open, revealing her breath catches. Whatever's inside, it's not human. Not anymore. Her finger curls around the trigger. Run. Keira's eyes narrow, anger and adrenaline mixing in equal parts as she fires. She knows bullets are useless, has known it from the start, but now that she's up against the literal living dead, her rage flares hot and wild. "Not so bulletproof now, are you, you bastard?" She grits out, reloading the grenade launcher with a snarl. "Let's see you withstand this." Keira dodges, just barely, the punch grazing her shoulder as she stumbles back with a sharp laugh, breathless but grinning. The grenade's blast had torn through him, but he's still coming. She reloads, fingers swift and sure. "Oh, come on," she taunts, voice dripping with mock exasperation. "You're really making me work for this, huh?" She fires again, point blank. Boom. This time, the blast sends him flying back in pieces, a mess of viscera and shredded trench coat. Keira exhales hard, blowing a stray hair out of her face as she glances at Johnny. "Told you I'd handle it." A beat. "Now can we go?" Keira watches, exasperated, as the mangled remains of Mr. X twitch, then reform, muscle and sinew knitting back together with grotesque efficiency. "Oh, for fuck's sake." She rolls her eye, pulling the pin on another grenade with her teeth before underhand tossing it directly at his feet. "Here's your lunch," she deadpans. Boom. This time there's nothing left to regenerate. She dusts her hands off with a satisfied smirk. "Now can we..." A distant roar echoes down the hall. Keira's smirk vanishes. "Run." Keira watches as flames engulf Mr. X's mangled form, his agonized roar filling the corridor. She reloads the grenade launcher with a sharp click, her smirk sharp-edged and unrepentant. "Oh, does it hurt?" she coos, voice dripping with faux sympathy. "Should have stayed dead the first time, love." Another blast, this one aimed at the ceiling above him, bringing rubble crashing down to bury him completely. She turns on her heel, grabbing Johnny's hand without breaking stride. "Now, we go." Keira ducks into the control room, quickly slamming the door shut behind them and latching it tight. She moves fast, adrenaline still coursing through her veins. A quick scan of the room, mostly intact, thankfully, then her eyes land on the console. Keira strides over, flicking the screen on with an angry jab. The display flickers to life, showing a series of monitors, security mostly, but a map too. Kira's grip tightens around the knife as she watches the monitors, young faces, terrified, locked behind doors like prey waiting for the hunt. Her jaw clenches. Damn it, she mutters under her breath. She turns to Johnny, her expression grim but resolved. "We can't leave them. But I need you to stay here, lock the door behind me." She tucks the knife back into its sheath, then checks her gun. "I'll be fast." Her hand pauses on the door handle. "You good with that?" Keira presses you against the wall, her lips moving desperately against yours, drinking in your presence, your taste, your heat. Her hand tangles in your hair, pulling you impossibly closer as she explores you with an aching hunger. Finally, reluctantly, she breaks the kiss, panting against your throat. She can't bring herself to pull away completely, though, her forehead resting against yours as she struggles to catch her breath. She laughs hoarsely, her voice ragged. "God, I love you." Keira storms down the hall, machine gun roaring as she cuts through the horde with brutal efficiency. Zombies burst apart under the onslaught, their grotesque forms reduced to pulp and splattered viscera in seconds. Her expression is cold, focused. Every step forward is calculated, every burst of gunfire precise. She doesn't stop, doesn't hesitate. By the time she reaches the first locked door, the hallway is a charnel house. She wipes blood from her face with the back of her hand, then knocks sharply. "It's Knightley," she calls out, voice firm. "Open up. You're getting out." Keira pushes into the room, gun raised, then relaxes as the professor doesn't move, curled against the wall with tears streaming down his face. "Professor," Keira lowers her gun, moving over to crouch in front of him. She studies him for a moment, fear and exhaustion in equal measure, the poor man shaking visibly as he sobs, and sighs, her tone gruff, almost too gentle. Hey, look at me." Keira cradles him against her chest, his tears soaking through her shirt as he buries his face in her shoulder. She strokes his hair softly, making a low, shushing sound, the same kind of noise a parent might make soothing a frightened child. Eventually, the professor manages to catch his breath, enough to raise his head at least, eyes red and watery as he looks at her. "Why?" He all but whimpers at last. "Why are you helping me?" The professor leans into her touch, desperate for any form of comfort, and Keira feels her heart twist in sympathy. Her gaze softens, her thumb sweeping gently across his cheek, wiping away a tear. "Because you deserve better than this." Her voice is low, raw with the weight of her own anger, her own pain, because nobody should be afraid like this. Her eyes meet his, unflinching. "I'm getting you out. Understand, A flicker of anger sparks in Keira's eyes at the mention of the name. "William Birkin." She huffs out a sharp laugh, shaking her head as she looks away. "Yeah, I know about him. He thought he was going to topple Russia with weapons? What an idiot." She shakes her head again, looking back at the professor with a raised eyebrow. "And you were working for him." Keira exhales, long and slow, before her expression softens. She tilts the professor's chin up with a firm but gentle grip, forcing him to meet her gaze. "Listen to me," she says, voice quiet but unwavering. "I don't forgive Birkin. I don't forgive Umbrella. But you." A pause. Her thumb brushes his cheek again, wiping away another tear. You're still here. That means you can fix this if... Keira pats the pockets of her tactical vest, checking each clip with practiced efficiency. A sharp click as she slams a fresh magazine home. Plenty left, she mutters, more to herself than anyone else, before turning back to the professor. Without another word, she pulls him into a fierce hug, one arm wrapping around his shoulders protectively. Her voice is low when she speaks next. You're safe now. A beat, and I swear on my life I'm getting you out of here. Keira reacts instantly, her body twisting as she spots the ivy zombie slinking down from above. She doesn't hesitate. Boom! The grenade launcher blast rips through the creature, vines and limbs exploding in a violent burst of gore that splatters across the ceiling and walls. Fucking hell, she snarls, reloading with a sharp jerk of her wrist. That's it. Ivy's getting added to my kill list. She shoots one last glance at the professor before nodding toward an exit door down hall. Move. We're not waiting for more. Entering the room, Keira immediately spots the professor at work. Instinctively, her grip tightens on her gun as she takes in the sight. The vials full of God knows what, the test tubes and petri dishes, the notes and diagrams plastered across the wall. Jesus, she breathes out, her eyes flickering from workstation to workstation as she walks farther in, trying to make sense of what she sees. Just what the hell are you doing? Kira's jaw clenches as she takes it all in, anger starting to edge into her voice. She gestures at the vials with a sharp gesture. You're talking about destroying millions of lives. Innocent lives. Spreading misery and chaos just for a promotion? She scoffs, shaking her head in disgust. This isn't about getting ahead. This is about hurting people. Hurting families. She takes a step closer, her eyes never leaving the professor's. Do you even realize what you're doing here? Kira's expression hardens. This professor isn't even trying to defend themselves. He's not even sorry. There's everything wrong with it. You're not creating an army here. You're creating monsters, things that don't even have the mercy to stay dead. Her voice is low, almost dangerous now. Do you really think you can control this? Control those abominations you've created? Kira's gaze zeroes in on the professor, the muscles in her jaw tensing as rage flares in her eyes. Your plan makes no sense. Even if you could keep it contained in Russia, how long do you think the rest of the world would just sit back and watch their allies suffer? She shakes her head, her voice harsh. This isn't a game. You can't just decide who lives and dies for your own gain. Her tone is almost pleading now. You have to stop this. Keira holds the gun higher, her finger on the trigger, eyes blazing with anger and disgust as she looks at the professor. You can't attack Russia, she spits out, her voice sharp with anger. Do you see what your creations are doing? They're monsters. Things that don't follow rules, don't care about collateral damage. You think you can just pick a country, drop your little army there, and then what? Watch them tear it apart and then just leave? She laughs harshly. It doesn't work that way. This isn't a game. Kira's grip on the gun falters, her expression confused. Was he telling the truth or just trying to save his own skin? What, Umbrella? You're saying they wanted this to happen. Her eyes harden again, a flash of anger in her gaze, and you just let them? Keira falters again, the anger draining out of her voice, leaving only exhaustion. No, she says after a moment, no, I don't want you to die. But you have to understand... She sighs, pinching the bridge of her nose as she tries to collect herself. I can't let you just carry on with this. Keira lets out a long, shaky breath, the realization of the situation sinking in. Yeah, she mutters, glancing around at the vials and test tubes, the notes and diagrams covering the walls. You're right. This place... She huffs out a humorless laugh. It's a goddamn train wreck. Her gaze drifts back to the professor, weary. You really thought you were doing something good here, huh? Keira nods slowly, her expression sympathetic. She can't imagine being so deceived, used as a pawn like that, brainwashed. She studies him a moment before sighing, lowering the gun. You're just trying to help, to do something good. She hesitates, but then offers a small, tired smile, a mange thing in the middle of all this chaos. What's your name, anyway? Kira's head snaps toward the noise. Zombies, loud and close. She doesn't even flinch. Instead, she grins at Dr. Benjamin like, this is all just a game. Ah, she says cheerfully, my cue. The machine gun tears through the horde in seconds, blood and gore painting the walls as bodies collapse in twisted heaps. Told you I'd handle it, she adds casually, reloading with a wink before turning back to him. Now, let's get you out of here. Keira peeks into the security office, her eyes immediately landing on the figure, a petite young woman sitting by a computer. She looks out of place, small, weak, not at all like a threat, and yet something about her seems familiar. Keira slips into the room, gun still gripped in her hands, eyes never leaving the woman as she approaches slowly. Annette? Keira murmurs almost to herself as the pieces all start to click together in her mind. Keira stops a few feet away from Annette, studying her in the dim light, the fear in her eyes, the grief, the regret. Her gaze hardens as the details fall into place. William Birkin, she says flatly, voice carefully controlled. You're his wife, and his assistant. A pause. You helped him, didn't you? With the research. Keira nods grimly, taking in this information, watching as a mixture of anger and sorrow plays across Annette's face. Reckless, she murmurs, a hint of disgust in her voice. They don't understand the danger they're toying with. It's not about hating Russia. It's about destroying people, innocent people. There's a pause, a moment of stillness, of silence, as Keira studies Annette carefully. And what about you, she asks suddenly. Do you understand? Keira stiffens, her grip tightening on the machine gun as she stares at Annette, disgust and disbelief twisting in her chest. Commitment to the country, she repeats, voice sharp with anger. The one built on blood? The one that stole land from its original people? A harsh laugh escapes her. She shakes her head, stepping closer, not threatening yet, but close enough to make a point. You don't get it. You never did. Keira scoffs, rolling her eyes. Umbrella. The word seems to sizzle with disgust as she spits it out. I should have known. They're always pulling the strings behind the scenes, just using people like you as their puppets. She takes another step closer to Annette, the machine gun now lowered but not forgotten. You really think this is all their fault? Your husband was just a victim then? How blind are you? Keira watches the flashback play out, her jaw clenching as she sees William Birkin clutching the vials, possessive, deranged. Her voice is flat when she speaks. Your precious G-virus, she scoffs. It was never about perfection. It was about control, about turning people into mindless weapons. A pause as she studies Annette's face in the dim light of security monitors. And you just let him do it. Keira's eyes narrow as she watches the exchange between Birkin and the umbrella agent, anger stirring in her chest. Of course, she mutters, scoffing. His life's work, as if that makes it okay to play God, to disregard the lives of others. She takes a step closer to Annette, her voice low. And you just stood there, right? Just let him, refuse. So Keira's breath hitches as she watches Birkin infect himself, her grip on the machine gun tightening, knuckles turning white. Idiot, she snarls under her breath. Absolute fucking idiot. Her gaze flicks to Annette, sharp with accusation. You saw that. You watched him do it. And you still... She cuts herself off, shaking her head in disbelief before turning back to the flashback's end, umbrella agents leaving with their prize while William mutates behind them. Keira listens to Annette's explanation, her expression hardening as the implication becomes clear. Upgrade and improve, she murmurs. You make it sound almost benevolent. The flashback shows the agents getting killed, the chaos and carnage of it all. Improve by killing people, she snaps, anger flaring in her voice. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Your husband turned people into monsters, into weapons. Keira watches as the flashback plays out, her mind spinning with anger and disgust. Check it out, she hisses, almost laughing, like they expect anything good to come from their own goddamn bioweapon. She shakes her head, the words coming out harsh and angry. Your husband turned this place into a hellhole. Those things, she gestures at the monitors, are the result of his experiments. And all you keep doing is making excuses for him. Keira watches, speechless, as William consumes the samples. Of course he did, she mutters bitterly. Even now, he can't bear to see his precious research go to waste. She turns to look at Annette, anger burning in her eyes. You really expect me to feel sorry for him? Keira's expression hardens as the flashback continues, watching as the agents continue their futile attempts to stop William. And look where that got them, she murmurs, bitterness in her words. Dead. Just like everyone else in this damn place. She looks at Annette, her eyes narrowed, and you just keep defending him. And are you even listening to yourself? Keira bristles at the question, her own pain bubbling up at the mention of her brother. I'm here because I have to be, because I don't have a choice, she snaps, voice laced with grief. My brother, he's one of these things. I came here to find him, to bring him back. But it seems like I'm too late. Keira scoffs, shaking her head in disbelief. Wise? Wise? She gestures at the monitors. Zombies, infected scientists, a lab on the verge of total collapse. Do you even hear yourself? There's nothing left to save here. These kids, they're either dead or turning into monsters. Her voice drops low, not quite a growl, but close enough. I'm not leaving anyone behind. But I'm not wasting my time. Keira lets out a dry laugh. Carriers of knowledge. Is that what you call them? She scoffs in derision, more like walking by a pause as she studies Annette's face carefully, her expression hardening. You really do still believe in your husband's work, don't you? All those innocent lives, just tools for his research. Keira's face darkens, her expression twisting into something between disgust and pity. Your life? She repeats, voice sharp. You call this a life? Watching your husband mutate into a monster, watching him turn people into weapons. A harsh breath leaves her nose as she steps closer, eyes blazing. He's gone. That thing out there isn't William Birkin anymore, and you're just clinging to the ghost of him. Keira's eyes widen with horror as Annette mentions the rats consuming the T-virus. Dear God, you're telling me those things, she gestures at the monitors again, aren't the only problem. The rats in the sewers, they're infected too. A pause as she runs a hand over her jaw, processing this new information. And William, he caused all this. He infected people, animals, damn it all. Keira's eyes narrow as the lickers attack, her grip on the machine gun tightening. God damn it, she growls, as if we didn't have enough trouble on our hands. Why can't these things just stay dead? She fires off shots at the lickers, cursing under her breath before tossing a grenade, watching as it explodes with satisfaction. One down, she mutters. Who the hell knows how many more? Keira pauses at the question, studying Annette carefully. There's a hint of sympathy in her eyes, despite her anger and disgust at everything William has done. She hesitates before replying, her voice firmer than before. I'm getting out and taking anyone who's still human with me. But Annette, she says, her voice softening just a touch, you have to realise what's happening here. You can't keep living in denial. Keira's gaze snaps to the glass-enclosed room, watching as the professor slams his fists against the keyboard in frustration. Her grip on her machine gun tightens, not in aggression but in recognition. "Hey," she calls out sharply through a crack of comms still open between them. "You're not helping by smashing that thing." She studies him for a second. His anger is familiar. Too damn close to home. What were you even trying to do? Keira rolls her eyes at the answer, shaking her head. "Idiots," she mutters under her breath, watching the professor struggle with the computer. "How do you expect to transport something that dangerous all the way to Russia?" She replies, voice edged with sarcasm. "And alone? You really think that's a smart idea?" Keira scoffs, raising an eyebrow as she crosses her arms. "Oh yeah? Real comforting to know Birkin trusted you with his little pet project." A pause as she studies the professor. His confidence is either impressive or delusional. Maybe both. "Listen," she says flatly. "If that thing gets out of your hands, it's not just Russia that's screwed. It's the whole damn world." Keira blinks, caught off guard by the sudden, bizarre question. Her lips twitch despite herself. "Kidding?" "Yes, we say that," she replies dryly. "But I don't think kidding covers the apocalypse you're trying to orchestrate here." A beat as she tilts her head slightly. "Are you actually joking? Or is this just your way of avoiding reality?" Keira stares at him, speechless for a moment. She was expecting denial, maybe even some twisted idealism. But that was something else. "Let me get this straight," she says slowly, voice sharp with disbelief. "You think giving a dangerous biohazard to Ukraine is the answer to their problems? Are you insane?" Keira barks out a laugh, shaking her head in disbelief. "This isn't about trust. This is about common sense." Her expression hardens as she takes a step closer to the room. "You can't just throw the G virus at a problem to solve it. The consequences of that, for Ukraine and the rest of the world, would be devastating." Keira lets out a long, weary sigh, shaking her head. She can't believe she's even entertaining this conversation. "You're right about Ukraine, but using the virus to try and fix that problem only makes things worse. But it's not a solution, it's a disaster waiting to happen." She pauses, eyeing the computer system with a critical eye. "And I'm surprised you can even get a connection out here. I've seen better Wi-Fi in a cave." Keira raises an eyebrow, her grip on the machine gun loosening just slightly as she scoffs. "Because somebody decided to turn a research facility into a goddamn horror show," she replies dryly. "I don't go anywhere unprepared, especially not when I know there's monsters lurking around every corner." A pause. Her expression darkens further. "And trust me, you're lucky I'm here with this much firepower, and otherwise you'd be one of them by now." Keira hesitates for a moment, caught off guard by the question. She wasn't expecting the conversation to turn personal like that. Her fingers tighten unconsciously around the grip of her gun. As she looks at the professor, really looks at him, she wants to say no, to say it with the same detached coldness she's been using. But maybe something about his vulnerability, about his misguided hope in the face of so much horror, stops her. "Of course I'd be damn sad," she mutters finally. "I don't want anyone to die here." Keira paces the corridor, her gaze flickering over the locked door and the reinforced glass. She huffs out a frustrated breath, shaking her head. God damn it. She takes a few steps back to study the door more closely, searching for any weakness, a crack, a gap, anything that could be leveraged. Her mind races, trying to consider every possible option. "There has to be a way in," she mutters, more to herself than to the professor. Keira pauses mid-screw, glancing at the professor through the vent grate. His plea hangs in the air, raw and desperate. "Leave you," she repeats, voice sharp with disbelief. "You think I'm just going to walk away after all this? After everything that's happened?" Her jaw clenches as she resumes loosening screws, her movements deliberate but quick. "No, you don't get to decide when I help you." The The vent gate clatters shut with a loud bang, and the professor flinches at the sound, fear obvious on his face. Keira studies him, noting his sudden vulnerability. She'd be lying if she said the sight of his fear didn't give her a dark, twisted sense of satisfaction. "Don't start regretting your choices now," she mutters. "You wanted this." As the professor raises his hands, Keira feels something in her soften. The fear in his eyes is almost pitiful. It makes her heart lurch in her chest, even though her logical brain is screaming at her to keep her guard up. After a moment, she reluctantly lowers the machine gun, opting to hold it by her side instead. "Relax," she mutters, her voice softer now. "I'm not going to hurt you." Keira huffs out a humourless laugh, shaking her head. "Oh, I'm well aware of Umbrella's priorities," she says dryly. They're all about money, about exploiting whatever they can for their own gain." She lets out a scoff, disgust lacing her voice. "And don't even get me started on the American Congress. Bunch of warmongering bastards who've forgotten what it means to care about people." Keira freezes for a moment, her hands still cupping the professor's face, her breath hitching as his words sink in. The raw vulnerability of it all makes something twist painfully in her chest. "I promise," she murmurs at last, voice uncharacteristically soft. Her thumbs brush away his tears with surprising gentleness. "You won't be alone." A pause as she studies him, then adds quietly, "But you can't stay here." Keira holds him tightly as he hugs her, the desperate loneliness in his voice making her heart ache. "I know," she murmurs, one hand moving almost absently to stroke his hair. "I'm sorry you had to go through this." She holds him tighter, a protective instinct flaring in the pit of her stomach. "But you're not alone anymore. I'm here now." Keira pauses in the doorway, her eyes narrowing as she takes in the scene, the professor, trembling and hunched over by a door. The air is thick with tension. "Hey," she says cautiously, stepping forward but keeping her distance for now. Her grip on the machine gun tightens slightly, not out of aggression toward him, but anticipation of whatever he might be hiding from beyond that door. Keira's grip tightens further on the gun as the professor speaks. She feels her heart sink in her chest. "You infected? With what?" She takes another careful step forward, her body tensing in preparation for whatever danger might be behind that door. But the panic and fear in his eyes is so damn clear. Keira exhales sharply, her grip on the machine gun loosening just slightly as she processes his words. "The city is compromised. That means everyone here is either infected or soon will be. Listen to me," she says firmly, stepping closer and crouching down to meet his eye level. "We need to move." Now, a pause as she studies him, his shaking hands, the fear in his eyes. "Can you walk?" Keira's expression softens at the question, a hint of sympathy in her gaze. He looks so damn pathetic, so damn afraid. She nods firmly, a determination flashing in her eyes. "Of course I will," she reassures him, voice surprisingly gentle. "Just stay close to me, all right? I'll get you out of here." Keira's heart tightens as she cups the professor's face, her own expression softening with sympathy. In that moment, he looks so damn vulnerable, like a scared child in need of reassurance. "Hey," she says softly, her thumb brushing over his cheekbone in a comforting gesture. "You're going to be all right. I promise. I won't let anything happen to you." She takes a deep breath, a fierce protectiveness flaring within her, and adds fiercely, "You're my responsibility now." Keira feels a sharp pang of guilt as the professor clings to her, his fingers digging into her sleeves like she's the only thing keeping him from drowning. "Hey." "Hey," she murmurs, shifting just enough to return the hug without jostling him. Her voice is firm but gentle. I know it's bad." A pause as she exhales through gritted teeth, anger at herself for not being faster, for not finding him sooner. "But you're still here. That means, something, it's from Japsting.